I choppy your pee. For those of us who remember that line from 1998 WWF Raw, it is something we will never forget. For those of us who don't, for those of you who don't, let me take you back. Val Venis debuted shortly after WrestleMania 14 with a porn star gimmick. He was pictured with fabulous women, including Janet Jameson, and could seduce any woman. Kai and Tai was a Japanese faction who was feuding with Taka Michinoku. Most people know who Tasha Michinoku is, but for those of you who don't, he was a Japanese wrestler who is very, very good at what he does. I believe he is still wrestling, but he may be semi-retired now. The rest of Kai and Tai was people you probably didn't heard of, and their manager was a man named Yamaguchi-san, who is an older gentleman. The only person in Kai and Tai who you probably heard of was Funaki. There were two others whose names I don't even remember because you probably didn't heard of them. And Yamaguchi-san had a wife who was also Taka Michinoku's sister. And Kai and Tai was feuding with Taka Michinoku. But one fateful night, Kai and Tai also started a feud with Val Venis. And Val Venis beat them all. But Yamaguchi-san was berating his wife one day, and Val Venis came to her defense and led her away. Well, Val Venis, being a ladies' man, then charmed her and seduced her and had sex with her. Now, this pissed off both Yamaguchi-san and Kai and Tai, and Taka Michinoku, who then on Raw was teaming with Val Venis, and turned on him. Now, all throughout this Raw, we have been seeing clips of Kai and Tai being very, very angry with Val Venis, including one clip with Yamaguchi-san with a samurai sword taking it down on a sausage, saying, I choppy your pee. Which, yes, is very racist, I will admit, but this was 1998 Raw, and racist things really got shoved under the rug back then, and it was also written by Vince Russo, so kind of what you expect. So Taka Michinoku turns on Val Venis, and during this match, Val Venis gets a beatdown, and Kai and Tai comes out and drags Val Venis to the back. Well, the main event happens, which involved Austin and Foley and Owen and Undertaker and people. And then we go to the back, and Val Venis is chained up to a water pipe, hanging there. His pee-pee is on a cutting board, and Yamaguchi-san has the samurai sword up in the air like this, and then the lights go out. And that is the end of the show. Cliffhanger ending. No one knows what happened. The next week, Val Venis comes out acting like he's hurt, but then gets on a mic and says, thanks to a little shrinkage and his good friend, John Wayne Bobbitt. Now, for those of you who don't know who John Wayne Bobbitt is, I hate having to explain all this stuff, but I have to because some of these people you've never heard of. John Wayne Bobbitt was a man whose wife cut his penis off and then threw it in a field. They found it in time to reconnect it, and then he became a porn star. Okay, so thanks to his friend John Wayne Bobbitt, he was freed in time to not have his pee-pee cut off. Why I keep referring to it as a pee-pee, I don't know. So then he called out Kai and Tai and asked for a match. And they agreed, but only if it was a gauntlet match between all four members, now including Taka. In which Taka finally, there was a gauntlet match, in which Taka finally pinned him with the Moshinoku driver, which is a move everybody uses today. As I said, Taka was a big-time wrestler. He was huge in Japan. He was pretty big in WWE at the time, in WWF at the time, but he was huge in Japan. So then, Val Venis fought Taka the next week solo and beat him, and that was the end of the feud. But just that image of Val Venis chained to a water pipe with his pants down and his pee-pee on a cutting board and the samurai sword up is one of those images that is burned in their raw memory forever. And that line, I choppy your pee-pee, it is one of those famous Raw storylines that everybody remembers from the Attitude Era. And Val Venis said that it was one of the great cliffhangers in television history. No one knew what happened when the lights went off and Raw ended. Everybody had to tune in the next week. And it was huge. Now remember, this was also during the Monday Night Wars. So they had to do something to compete with WCW. And apparently it involved a samurai sword and a pee-pee almost getting chopped off. So that's the story of Val Venis almost getting his pee-pee chopped off. I still don't know why I'm calling it a pee-pee all the time. But join me later in the week where we're going to look at Birdemic 3, a movie I almost couldn't sit through. And honestly, if I wasn't going to review it, I wouldn't have sat through it. I could barely sit through it, and I'm like, I got to review this thing. And honestly, if I wasn't going to review it, I wouldn't have sat through it. I would have turned it off 15 minutes in. So join me later in the week.